Lumi is an absolutely insane Apex demon. If you've never heard of him, he's so good at the game, he's even beaten iitzTimmy's damage record, getting a total of over 9,000 damage in a single game of Apex. And I got to surprise him by teaching him stuff he's never even heard of in a coaching session that we had.
Holy shit. My eyes are being like opened right now. Like I'm opening my teeth.
So, for today's video, I'm going to highlight some of this hidden knowledge that I shared with Lumi and how he still levels up his gameplay, even though he's that good. If you guys want coaching yourself, head to the link in the description, or you can join my Discord, where now I do free coaching giveaways every so often. Without any more delay, let's hop into the video, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. So you're looking mostly for strafe stuff. I've seen you play. You know how to strafe aim. You know how to mirror anti-mirror people.
Yeah.
So when we talk about strafe overall, there's two things that strafe is a combination of. So strafe is just moving left and right? Strafe is broken up into two things for the most part. There is strafe aim, which is mirroring anti-mirroring, and then there is dodge, which these are completely separate ideas, okay? This is really important to understand. This where most people don't know what they're talking about, because they'll think like anti-mirror. You're more likely to like dodge or miss because you're moving more, or mirroring you move. It's like people don't really they don't put the right terms to the right thing. So especially since you don't know a lot of dodge stuff, I'm gonna make this distinction right now. Strafe aiming and dodging are two exactly different things. They're two completely separate ideas and thoughts. For a lot of students learning, I like to tell them to just go strafe aim people, period. And since you already know mirroring anti-mirroring, I'm not going to get into the how to do it. I'm going to more talk about why to do it, or talk about some of the factors externally that you might not have thought of. But
yeah, like, I feel like I have strafe aim pretty down. Like I can anti-mirror and mirror pretty well. Like, and I utilize them, but like I just feel like doing that a lot just kind of puts me in such like a hittable scenario, and I'm just like taking a lot more damage than I should be. Like obviously I know how to position myself in fights, and if like obviously if it's not just a aim duel on like flat ground, like obviously I'll probably win it because I just know how to play the game. But if it's like someone like as equally good as me and I'm fighting them on the ground, like I feel like I die most of the time because I'm just not like I'm moving in such a predictable pattern, or just like a pattern that is so easy to hit. Yeah. So like I just need to figure out how to get out of that, or just like do something else to, you know, help me. That so like it doesn't make my aim go to shit as well, you know, because like I want to be able to aim and strafe at the same time, of course, but also have an efficient strafe, you know. Yeah, of course. I'll talk to you a little bit about that. So with mirroring anti-mirroring, you are on MNK, right? Yeah. What do you think is more preferred for you, anti-mirroring or mirroring? Anti-mirror. Anti-mirror. Why do you say that? I don't know. Like it. I just prefer it. It's just something that it clicked a lot more. Like mirroring used to not click for me, and I used to be able to not do it at all. Like I couldn't do it at all, but now I can. Like if I want to. But this anti-mirror is just something that like it just feels more comfortable for me to do. Okay. I guess. I want to talk about the kind of meta aspect of Apex Legends, because Controller exists, obviously, and it will fuck you over, and I'm sure you know. The thing is that, so what controller actually does is it grants artificial smoothness, right? You have infinite smoothness on controller because you never have to reset your mouse. You never have to reset anything. You can literally just turn it forever and ever and ever, right? There's also the element of assisted precision as well, right? Because, you know, aim assisted pulls two targets. And overall range of motion is infinite as well. These factors make it really, really disadvantageous for you to anti-mirror target, because a really bad controller player can just throttle out their joystick and they're turning like this, right? They're turning in circles at like max speed, right? And for our intents purposes, if most players are running 3-3-4-3, right, that will match most strafe speed, right? Unless you're really, really close to them or far away from them. If you're anywhere in the aim assist range, which I'll talk about a little bit, you will die anti-mirroring them, because, well, you won't necessarily die, because one, their crosshair can be off, right? There's a various number of factors, but they have a higher chance of coming out of those engagements because of the fact of the input that they play on, rather than their own skill, right? In most games, let's talk about like Overwatch, right? I don't know how much Overwatch you've played. Everyone on Overwatch is MNK, unless you're playing on console, obviously, right? So when you're mirroring somebody, right, your crosshair doesn't need to move at all, right? Your crosshair does not need to move at all, which makes it, when you're playing MNK versus MNK, mirroring is typically the disfavored type of strafe aim style, because it takes a bad player cannot move their mouse, right? A bad player can just do nothing. But the problem is that aim assist is reliant on input from your joystick.
you need to move your joystick to get aim assist. You can't really strafe aim people, like, and mirror them and like kill them. Like, you can, obviously, as a controller player, but it takes deliberate practice, and it's way harder to react to adjustments and anything like that when somebody is mirroring you. So in most games, anti-mirroring is preferred because the skill difference. Anti-mirroring requires trained smoothness, trained precision, and stuff like that. But those skills are directly correlated to aim assist and controllers in general, right?
Yeah.
So this logic's kind of flipped on its head in Apex just because of how many controller players there are. In most situations, you want to mirror people rather than anti-mirror them. You will take so much less damage mirroring people until you run into an MK player.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I can mirror play. Like, I typically mirror people when, like, I'll explain it. Say, like, someone's, like, running towards a door and I know it, and I say I have like an R9, like, I'll just mirror them from, like, a distance and, like, you know, just
of course,
beam the hell out of them. But, like, I do it sometimes. Like, I say, like, 3 out of 10 times I'll mirror someone strafe in a fight. Like, it's not like my go-to. Like, if it happens, it happens, but it's not like something I'm aiming for. Like, I'm just trying to, like, anti-mirror, because that's just, like, something I'm so comfortable with doing.
Yeah, it's good that you're comfortable with anti-mirroring. Anti-mirroring has to be a deliberately built-up skill, but I want to see probably a lot more of I mean, you know how to mirror people, but I want to see you try and do it more, probably, to at least feel how it is, right? There's still situations in which we want to anti-mirror people. I'm not saying never anti-mirror. It's still really important to know when to do both, right? Because there should be deliberate decision-making. Like, for example, the situation you just provided, where someone's running to a door and you mirror them, that's good because you're also going to the door to either take the door or deny them the ability to have the door.
Yeah.
Anti-mirroring is good for, like, establishing angles for a longer period of time, stuff like that, right? As a default, if you're just trying to kill somebody as fast as possible, mirroring's typically favored. That this doesn't rely on built-up skill as well, and because there's less room for error when mirroring, right? There's a lot less room for error. The only thing that is really hard when mirroring is if the target you're strafing against, which is, like, never going to happen, but if they change direction or they react to you mirroring them, micro-adjusting to what they do is really difficult because you have to overcome static friction. And I know you're a Skypad enjoyer, so it's not as hard for you, but it is still something that you have to overcome. Static friction is still annoying, and it is difficult to overcome for micro-adjusting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing I want to talk about here specifically is, let me redraw this again. The other thing I want to talk about here is specifically spacing. So this is something that most players don't consider. So if we break down your relative range to somebody, let's break it down into 3 areas. We'll say this is the short range or close range, medium range, and then everything from here on is like far range, right? Like everything off screen is far range. And then we have 2 hybrids. We have close medium, medium far, right? It's really important to understand you probably instinctively fight in your preferred ranges, which is obviously good. Enabling yourself is the easy part. Disabling your opponent is the way more difficult part to do, okay? You have to be conscious of your opponent's weapons, you have to be conscious of their ranges that they want to play in, and you have to deduct, like a math equation, about where you want to play based off of your opponent's weaponry, right? The easiest example of what I want to give is, for example, if you have a R9, so your preferred range looks anything like this, right? Because here on, you just ADS with the R9, right? If the opponent has a PK, their preferred range looks like this, right? Like, PK is only really good in close range. You can't really play medium range with the PK. You just get out-traded, right? So what range do you play in? Medium, duh, right? But if you have to intuitively do this for almost every weapon in the game. And some other weapons, it's not as easy to do. And we also have one big factor that we need to talk about, and that is aim assist, Smile. Breaking down aim assist actually functions. So I don't know how often you 1v1 the controller players specifically. I don't know how much you know about aim assist. So most important thing is that there is a core speed and, like, size positioning of where we are that will make aim assist glue to us, right? This is where we get one clipped by 0.6. This is where we get one clipped by 0.4. This is where people just kind of just kill us for free, right? This range, and almost every time, looks something like this. Anywhere from not entirely the close range, but about halfway through the close range into the close medium range and a little bit beyond that, right? This is when they just ADS and then just anti-mirror you or just, like, absolutely just fry you for free, right? This range is deadly. This range we want to actively try to escape in almost every situation. Even though it sucks, because sometimes this is the deduced range for how we want to play. So, for example, if our opponent's running like an AR and we have an SMG, this is the range you want to be in, actually. but it's difficult because of aim assist, right? So this isn't really where we want to play, right? Almost impossible to walk at somebody to take distance, right? So if you're like medium range, you're like, oh, I want to play close range. You can't just do that, right? You will just die, right?
I just have to wait for opportunities and like break them, and then like wait when they're healing to like push forward, all that stuff. Yeah.
There's two main theories behind how you want to take space forward, right? And that is either very slow, methodically. The other main theory behind it is taking all the space all at once, right? This is where we start here and we go, hey, we have an R9 and we want to kill you. We want to get close to you, right? We slide jump, wall bounce, boom, here we're here now, right? There instantly. Intuitively, it would be good to time it in tandem with enemy peaks, enemy mag size. So if they start shooting you first and they miss, then you can just literally wall bounce into them and they cannot kill you because they have like 9 bullets left in the gun, right? Or like between like Peacekeeper like rechambers, Master free chambers, things like that, right? The better we are at identifying certain situations in the game state, the better we can take this space up, right? But you either want to think about, do you want to take it all at once? Or do you want to take it piece by piece? Typically, the answer is all at once because piece by piece is hard. When you're closer to your opponent or you're closer to the range you want to be, piece by piece is typically fine to do. Then the number one thing you want to avoid is range entirely, right? Does all this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You have to remember to, again, remember to disable your opponent and enable yourself. Disabling your opponent is more powerful than enabling yourself. But yeah, since all this makes sense, I want to talk about the next thing we have, which is, so... how much do you know about like geometric like positioning at all? Not really anything, or?
I mean, if you probably describe what it is, I probably would be able to say, oh yeah, I probably do that, but I don't know what it is.
Okay. So the important thing when we're in tandem with geometry is to understand that. So if we just have like us here, right? If we're going to express our possible positions we can be, right? This is something called a player dome, right? This just expresses where we can go in, you know, relatively like half a second, right? Because this is where we can strafe, right? This is a 4-dimensional, or not a 4-dimensional. This is a 3-dimensional sphere. It's not a 2D. So if it's top down, it looks like this, right? It's just the simple. However, if we have something like a wall here, right? Our player dome is cut in half, right? Because we can go half the directions we normally could be able to go, right? And it isn't really half. It's more like a third cut off because you can't really go one of these directions here. So here, you never want your player dome against a wall. You never want to limit your options about where you can go at any point in time, okay? The best example I have for this, especially, we want to, maximize our player dome, and we want to minimize the opponent's dome, right? Because obviously, if our opponent's dome is, you know, 1 or 2 directions, we can intuitively figure out which direction they're going to go, right? So let's talk about an example that I like a lot. Let's talk about the high ground situation. Right, you know, so let's just use the firing range 1v1 pit as an example because I really like that pit for explaining a lot of this stuff, right? So if someone's on the rock right here and you are down here, right, or you are running over here, right, you are going over to this other side of the rock here and they're up here and they're shooting you, right? How do you dismantle this person on high ground? What do you do to kill this person on high ground? How do you win this fight? This is a hard fight to win. How do you do it? Any idea?
I mean, see, if I'm getting shot from like high ground, I personally I would try to get close to the rock, so like they would have to expose more of themselves, and I would be able to look straight up at them and try to like do something, or I would try to like. It's hard. Like I that's like one thing I definitely do struggle with is like fighting people while they have height.
You have half the equation, so you have half of it. You need the other half. The other half here. So if we were to express this player's player dome, right? They're right here, right, and you're right here. Their express player dome is something like this. Obviously, they could go off the edge, but they're probably not, right? The only time they're going to do that is they're going to send you, right? Like, if you take like 180 damage, they're going to send you and kill you, right? But let's assume for all intents and purposes that this is a relatively normal player, and they're not going to just send you for no reason. Their player dome looks something like this, right? They have the ability to strafe backward into, you know, both directions, this, right? But they're not going to walk off the edge. What you want to do in this situation is, because you guys are relatively equal in terms of positioning, right? Both your player domes look like this. However, if this comes down a little bit more to angles. Because of the way that the angling works on high ground specifically, if someone is further back, right, their angle is a lot more limited, right? Because they can see less of the angle, like right here, right? It creates like a blind spot here, the further back they are. However, it also creates a blind spot for you to shoot, because obviously this isn't necessarily always true. But if they can't see down here, you can't really see them either, right? Especially because your blind spot relative to them is way bigger than theirs is for you. So the important thing to understand with high ground is that if you approach this properly, you can remove every element of what makes high ground good except for the actual high ground, or like the height part.
Yeah.
Over here. So if someone's here, right above me, right? Obviously here, I can only really move two directions, right? Like I can move back, but it's really hard to because they will just shoot me for free. I kind of have to stay like this, moving like this, right? But this is really hard to aim in, especially because turning in circles like this is really hard because it right? But the best way to approach this fight is if we're ever right here and someone climbs up on us, or like this on us, what we should do here is we should immediately slide out like this, right? This might seem reductive because we're not in cover anymore, but cover is not what makes us take less damage. Obviously, when we're in cover, we can take 0% damage, right? Because they can't see us. At least through traditional methods, right? Because they can still use ability. Gunplay sake, we can't take damage, right? However, being in the open sometimes expresses that we can take less damage overall. Because here, our relative where we can go is so much more than there, right? And on top of that, think about if someone's right here, right? And then we slide jump out. Now, what does this person have to play? Nothing, right? They have to like strafe backward like this, right? This is a reason why in pro play a lot of the time they won't necessarily play like the top of rocks and stuff, right? Because if we think about all the area we're exposed in, I would say everywhere from like here, or where my crosshair is, onward can see us, right? Obviously, if we're talking about like Apex Legends, we're on a fucking huge ass map, right? Like they can just shoot me on top of the rock, right? So if we think about that and we express that in a way when we're fighting somebody on a high ground, especially because this high ground is really, small, right? This obviously isn't like staging high ground or something like that, or like landslide high ground. Yeah. But the same concept still works in theory for a lot of situations like this. Okay? Someone's just playing high ground on you like this, bait them to come to the edge, and then slide out like this to actually be able to fight them. Okay. The other thing.
Knew that. That's actually. I get myself, and I'm gonna be wanting some people to some MEK friends. I'm always in that like spot right there that's on the ground, like, and like my thought process is I'm just gonna try to like static wall balance out of it and like tap straight forward and then just like take the end duel, and like I always die.
You will die. You will die doing that. Don't do that. So let's talk about the other example I want to share. So if we are in this exact same situation again, let's say we are running up here and we get to this wall, right? But this time we take a lot of damage. Let's say we take 103 damage. And this person goes, send, right? And you can either intuitively tell by the type of player they are, because I know you can do that. I know you play enough pubs and know when people are freaks. You know it's either an insane player or a really smart player that knows I should send this, right? Like either way. You know that they're going to send you through auditory or, visual or whatever, right? You know they're going to send you. What do you do when you know you're already injured and they're sending you off this high ground here? What should you do?
I actually would have no clue. I would just like accept my fate and just see if I can out
pray, hands and knees, pray. Just don't shoot me, don't shoot me. So let's talk about the proper thing to do here. Okay. So let's draw this again, but in top-down view. Okay. Let's just like a box here, and for intents purposes, let's just draw this as an infinite box. Right. Let's just say it's an infinite wall, whatever. Right. You draw a straight line. So like holy shit, no. So if you're here against the wall like this, and they send you from the top of the wall, right? Your player dome looks something like this. You look like that, right? Because you can't strafe from the wall at all, right? So, however, the opponent's player dome looks like this, a full 360, right? They can go wherever they please. They can do whatever they want. Do you notice the natural limited ability of you in this situation because of your player dome? Because what can you do here? Left and right.
You can either move left or right, or be dumbass and like
die, right? Right.
Like,
But what can this player do? Everything, right? They can really do everything, right? The wall is really important. The infinite wall, or just the wall solution in general, is really important to understand, because here, the better play to do, when they send you, if obviously we're not talking like Stormcatcher height, because they're just gonna drop down a straight line and you just shoot them in the air and kill them when they land and they hit the ground, like obviously, right? But assuming it's not a situation like that where they have to actually slide on you, if they slide on you, you need to counter swing them, okay? You counter swing them, you are now expressed out here like this, right? Especially because if we think about it in a more vague sense, right? Because your player dome is now expressed in a full 360 as well, right? Like
So I just want to move out with them and like swing it. Like okay.
Yeah, counter swinging is the most important thing you can probably learn in a lot of situations. Watching the M&K 1v1 tourney I did, so many players would just sit there and hold a position. Then as soon as somebody that didn't do something, for example, Strafing Flame shit on so many people because he would literally just push them and people wouldn't counter swing. They would just like try and like kite, and he would just kill them, right? Because they're not trading damage effectively enough, right? Literally, Strafing Flame, what he would do in these situations is he would cut off players' player domes. They would only move in one of two directions, and he would know and just beam them for free. Well, meanwhile, the person he's pushing has to react to what Strafing is doing. You want to try and realize your player dome in the most situation in the best way possible. Now let's flip this around. Let's say you are sending somebody and they're against the wall because they don't know to counter swing you. Let's say that you're playing against somebody who's against the wall, right? How do you kill this guy as fast as possible?
I would just drop down and take the 1v1. I have no like game plan.
You have no game plan? Okay.
Yeah.
This is probably where you I wouldn't say falter as a player because that sounds mean, but like this is probably a gap in your knowledge. This is a gap in your knowledge, right? So let's think about this. This guy can move left or right, right?
Yeah.
Now those are probably the only ways he's going to go. If we want to stop him from going left or right, what should we do? Go in one of those directions, right? Because if we come over here now, right? This is expressed. I don't know how much about math you know. You don't need to know anything about math, but this is a 45-degree angle. Okay.
Yeah.
The 45-degree angle is a death sentence for the other person on the other side of it, especially if you're a controller player. If you're a controller player and you're forcing somebody into a 45-degree angle, you fucking kill them. They should die, right? This basically dictates that this person can only go one direction, to the right, right?
Yeah, because they don't want to get closer to you.
They don't want to get closer to you. They can't walk away from the wall because you'll punish them really hard for it because you will walk this way and they have to walk all the way this way. Right? You have taken 100% control of the situation here. Okay? They only go one direction, right? That's it. It's simple as that. This has given you mind control powers. You can now read their movement. You can read where they're going to go. If they ever stick off the wall, you can literally just mirror them and, chase them and kill them. This isn't strafe aiming. This is not strafe aiming. This is just making aiming extremely easy for you and literally mind control powers, right? You might want to employ strafe aiming later, but... What?
So that's actually crazy. I never, thought of it like that. I kind of would just, drop down on them and, try to win the one, just whatever. But, now that I it all makes sense now. I'm just like, damn, okay.
This is the stuff I teach you. If you can find a way to establish a 45 in any possible way, you can absolutely just shit on people, right? So cover, we don't play cover. We have cover for the luxury of being able to use it if we. Okay. Yeah. Everyone hard hugs cover all the time. I will 1v1 players that, for example, they will do something this, right? They will play like this box here, and if I swing out from this way, so if I swing from this way, right, I go like this, how is this player going to move behind the box? They're going to go like this, right, to space me out, right? However, if I'm hard swinging somebody, right, let's say they're here, and I go around this way, right? Which way is this player on the box going to go? This way, right? I can literally read the opponent's positioning based off of the geometry that they play. I have straight up one-clip people because they try to play cover, which is antithetical to the whole point of cover, right? If someone swings you, you should get comfortable counter-swinging them. Instead of just, obviously there are times where you want to play geometry, you want to play a door or something like that, right? But there are times where someone swings you, you don't want to just sit on this rock like this, right? Because if someone swings me and I'm here, what does my player dome look like?
Yeah, so instead of just going around, you want to swing forward while they're going that way.
Exactly, right? If someone swings me like this, if someone swings me like this, right, and they're right here, and I swing like this, I've fucked this guy. This guy can't move backward at all, right? Now I can literally go around him for free, right?
Yeah, holy shit! My eyes are being opened right now. I'm getting my third eye opened of
I got you. Cover is good to play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't play cover, but like,
yeah, obviously, but
you need to identify.
Yeah, there's a amount of times where like I get myself against cover, and people like my movement dome, they kind of just like they cut it. It's cut in half because I'm against that cover instead of I need to counter swing that.
Exactly,
and
right?
Okay, holy shit.
Even if they aren't intuitively going, your movement dome is cut in half. They can still identify, hey, you guys moving in a straight line, because your options are so limited, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, your options are inherently limited. All that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it made a lot of fucking sense.
Any questions about anything?
No.
Okay. You will start to intuitively, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I hit the flow state, I see this game in wireframe. Like, unironically. Like, I see it like it's a fucking, like Unity project, right?
Same.
Okay, get them. Okay, I'm not alone with that. But when you are playing around geometry, I want you to always anticipate where the opponent's going to go. Because, especially because if you notice a pattern, even for like half a second, right? If we're talking like someone starts moving backwards like this, you go, okay, they're gonna go backwards around the cover like this. And you can literally just aim here, and then you're fine. You're free. It's free, right? You should make aiming as easy as possible for you in all situations. Aiming, everyone fetishizes aiming really hard by going, I'm gonna like swing and then like one clip like all three, and it's like you should just make aiming really fucking easy for you, right? Earlier I mentioned thresholds, and I will go over that now. Okay.
All right.
This ties in a little bit with geometry. I like to scope a lot to explain the idea of a threshold. Okay. A threshold is just something that separates two places. That you might be like, what the fuck is a threshold? But that's just like a door. Like a door separates the inside from the outside, right?
Right.
A threshold can also be, it can be like an empty door frame. It can be just anywhere that separates two areas, like typically by cover. So for example, like a box can be threshold, right? They're obviously, they're not all born equal. Some doors are better than others. Some cover is better than others. Stuff like that. So some other examples can be like a head glitch is a threshold, right? Because it separates this area from this area here. Basically, if you're thinking like end game zone, like imagine there's like a zone 6 where you are. Where can one team play and another team play? Basically, is a good way to think about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Thresholds intuitively have the natural ability to break down and create sight lines and angles, right? So for example, let's draw a door like this. A door like this, right? Let's say I'm playing right here. Let's say I'm playing in the far corner over here, right? If someone out here wants to swing me, they have to fully enter this threshold. This is the threshold right here. This little area right here. This is a threshold. They have to fully enter this area to try and kill me, right? And if someone is peeking this corner here, I naturally have the advantage by being able to pre-fire, see them, things like that, right? The important thing is that all thresholds limit strafe capacity in some way or another. Whether not at all, whether it be barely at all, or it be by a great deal, right? You can't strafe in a door frame, right? The important thing a lot of time is that if you go through a threshold, there is no coming back, right? You have to understand that to a great deal. And if you are playing a threshold, you have to make it to where an opponent can't just go through it for free, right? At least it's for the most part. Sometimes you can't defend thresholds because they're either weak or there's like 3 opponents like triple kicking a door. You just go like, bye, you just have to leave, right? Like, that's fine. I'm gonna show this example from a game I was playing. So my teammate got down from the door here, pretty obvious. But the opponents are gonna come through this door, right?
Mm-hmm.
The opponents have 2 options as to what they can do. They can go either to 1, or they can go to 2. 2 being to my left here, right? Like this wall here, right? Which position should they play?
I feel like 2 because they would if they actually I don't know actually. I'm trying to think like I wouldn't if I got a down like that, I personally wouldn't go in through that door. But so I don't know.
Okay. 1 is the inferior position, even though they are like fighting me. There's no cover, right? There's no cover, there's not really anything they can really do, right? But 2, they take space and they think about it. This is a threshold, right? And this is a threshold.
Yeah.
Both of these are thresholds. The zipline building is a favorite building because of how many thresholds there are in it. And the zipline allows you to instantly cross through and exit to a new threshold, literally constantly. So you can re-engage in a fight every single time you enter or leave a threshold. Like a fight becomes brand new every single time you enter the zipline. Obviously, like things like your health and stuff like that still matter. But if there's 3 people on the floor and you zip line away, well, now you're on an empty floor with nothing on it, right? Nobody there. And you can easily dismantle fights and stuff like that, right? Considering that I'm playing a threshold here, so I intuitively have... I control all of this cover here, and if they were to enter through this threshold, they wouldn't control this cover, right? Because I'm playing here, I control the space here. 2 would have been the better option for them to play, even if I wasn't here, because they actually take space and control the outside here. But here, they just don't control anything, right? Now, you'll notice that the opponents, they don't do either. They do this. They just walk through the door, right? And I didn't have to express good aiming skills here. I expressed good fundamentals by, I mean, look how much I aim.
Yeah,
my crosshair is still. My crosshair is literally still, right?
Sense. Yeah, it's just like, you're just like, okay, they're gonna run through the door. I'm gonna aim at the door. Like,
right? Their player dome is limited to literally like this, right? They literally can't do anything. Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything else you had questions about?
Nah, honestly, like it taught me a lot. Like I felt like my like I know when to anti-mirror and when to mirror now. Like counter strafe and all that stuff is just like our counter swing. I mean, that's all that stuff. Like now I know about it and like know when to do it. And I feel like I'll be in situations a lot where like that I need to do that, and I don't want to play ring around the rosy with someone. So like counter swinging would just be definitely just way more useful than just playing how you used for the example.
Yeah, you are a good player, so you can probably identify when to counter swing and stuff like that. But
yeah,
if you have questions or anything like that, you can DM me whenever.
No, you helped me so much. I actually like learned a lot.
Problem.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I look forward to your 37 kill game tomorrow.
Hopes. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to get any because I wanted to play today, and try to get a video for Friday, but I don't think I'll be able to get one because apparently the matchmaking is like really bad.
Oh yeah, I heard.
It takes like 15 minutes to get into a game.
I heard.